Hello, this is Lisa Hazard with the podcast We Are All Psychic. And unfortunately, we don't have Misty. She might pop in. She didn't last time, but she might pop in. You just never know. But we have something exciting happening. I spoke with this person named Monica for the last 15 minutes, and I maybe longer, maybe 20 minutes. And she's our guest today. And she's just one of the most amazing talkers. And you just got to see this to believe it. So, Monica, would you like to say hello?
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
I have a question for you. Do you think we're all psychic?
I absolutely think that we're all psychic. I feel like the difference between being psychic and being intuitive is just kind of like muscle memory and strengthening your muscles. Intuition, I feel like is almost like the pathway to being full-blown psychic. And it's all about whether or not you follow your intuition. And the more you do that, the more psychic you become. It just kind of opens up this whole unseen world, but very much felt and very much sensed.
And you know what? Sometimes it's seen as well in a different way. It comes
absolutely.
That's when people start believing some things that maybe.
Well, here's the thing. I not only believe that we're all psychic, I actually absolutely believe that we were born that way. But here's the thing, and this is actually one of my passions, right? Is to start normalizing psychic ability at a younger age. Because, I didn't talk about being psychic as a child, just because I knew the people around me either didn't know, weren't open to the conversation, or, got scared. And so I think that's what's happened to a lot of psychics. They go to their mom or their dad or someone they trust to talk about these things, and they're immediately dismissed. Oh, no, that's not what happened. Oh, no, that's not what you're feeling. And you're children, right? You assume that adults know what they're doing. I mean,
I always told my kids, our parents don't know what they're doing. Don't they?
There is no manual. There's no manual into how to be yourself. You got to kind of learn on the way. So I think a lot of people get shut down at a very, very young age because they're trusting these adults who, just very well could be afraid of having those conversations. And then it kind of pops up later in life, right? And then you have to kind of go undo what was done and begin your journey possibly for the first time ever.
What happened to you? Before the podcast listener, she told me she knew she was psychic at 5, and I said, stop. Let's hit record, and we hit record. So tell me about that. What happened when you were 5?
I remember, first of all, the first thing I remember is looking at myself in the mirror for the first time and not recognizing myself and not liking my name. So I looked at myself and I'm like, this is not what I look like. And I was really young. I was so young that I had to climb up on the bathroom sink to look at myself in the mirror. And I think I was crying because I just watched on Golden Pond. I don't know what child should have been watching old Golden Pond. I mean, I was sobbing. If you know the movie, I'm not going to ruin it, but it's sad at the end. And I'm crying by myself. And I look at myself in the mirror and not recognizing who I'm seeing. And then I remember thinking, Monica's not my name. My name is Diane. I was clearly remembering who I was in the most recent past life, right? So there was that. And then I remember being 5 years old. I used to spend a lot of time in my closet. So, we all need our sacred space.
Wait, man, you're blowing my mind because the first thing you said happened to me, but I didn't think it was a psychic thing. And I used to spend so much time in my closets.
I think if you're like me, I was one of 4 kids. And my family is very loud and very boisterous.
They are that.
Literally would not leave me alone. So I would go into my walk-in closet in the dark and just sit there and just be and listen. And that is when my spirit guides first talked to me. So I was 5 years old. And from that place, from that space, we planned out my whole life. You're talking about manifesting. This is what I think is so funny with law of the attraction, because I was like, I was doing it through the guidance of my spirit guides at a very young age.
Yeah.
We did everything from planning to they told me, okay, you're going to be an actor. So I knew at that age I was going to be an actor. I knew at that age I was going to live in New York because this was a conversation. This is what okay, you're going to do this and you're going to do this. And it's like, okay, got it.
And you remembered it.
Well, and they taught me how to meditate. I've never been This is why it's so important to listen when you're very, very young. It's like you get to be advanced before like you forget to remember to learn all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't think that I was in some sort of like, advanced placement for psychic children. I just feel like, certain kids just recognize their family and it's like, this isn't, these are not my people. And they, did things to protect themselves, like go into the closet, be quiet, and just listen. So yeah, that's my origins, if you will.
That's really crazy. I used to just go in there to play with my imaginary friends and toys, but it wasn't, there was no trauma around me. I just liked being in there. But I was scared of the closet at night if the door was closed.
I mean, I thankfully didn't have any shadow people or visitation people, coming at me as a child.
I did have one. I had one. I had a green cowboy. I didn't know that's what it was, though. Yeah. But like you said, if I had been educated, if people thought this way, like knew these terms or these things that are common, they're common. Look at the podcast.
Exactly. And that's one of my passions, to do whatever I can to try to find young psychic star seeds and light worker and be like, hey, this is actually normal for people like us. You're not losing it. There's a lot of people in denial. Let's develop this and let's not shut it down, because it does affect every aspect of your life.
And that's really where that's really where empowerment should begin. And that's like the topic of the podcast, living an empowered life. And that's what that's what she says on her website. That's what she just like helps people do. She's empowered me like just this whole time I'm talking with you, Monica. You just like, I feel like myself, but not like I'm going to kick some butt. I feel like good about I feel good about myself. Like if I had to, I probably could kick some butt if it was like self-defense.
Yeah, it's not like not everybody is like feeling like they got to swing their sword of truth all the time. And I mean, when I say not everybody, I don't mean myself, because I do feel that way all the time. But that's also part of like, understanding myself, understanding what I'm passionate about. And also, that's part of my teaching when I'm working with people, that, you're going to need all the tools. I'm, there might be a sword of truth in one hand, but there's a bouquet of flowers in the other, because, whatever the situation is, you want to have all the tools to address it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't think you should be in warrior mode all the time. Sometimes you have to be in like peacemaker or moderator mode. You know what I mean? I think it's just really important that we be able to use all of the tools available to us.
Like for me, like I've been trying to be more empowered, in my life in the last few years. Mm-hmm. And just like speaking with you, and I'm, plus I can feel your energy and everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty loud. I would say, excuse me, but I can.
Oh, and it's not the loud. It's
after the podcast is over.
Oh no, it's
very passionate about this.
You have this energy that's just, it feels so like you are passionate, but I feel like because we talked about this before the podcast too, listeners, but she may come back for a podcast about empathy and acting, which I've talked about a few times on the podcast if you listen. So I'm so excited about that. But listen to her. You can feel her. Listen to you. Well, any of you are taking an aside and an introduction to a future podcast for a moment. Just listen to her when she talks. Don't you start to feel something good about yourself? Don't you feel it from her? She's like, she was projecting it through the audio to me, through the video for us. And I feel like you're taking it to the listeners, and they're going to feel that when they listen to this podcast.
I try to use
like this really good feeling,
opportunities to spread healing energy, like literally all opportunities. Yeah. But because I am an actor, I know how to do that with my voice.
Yes, you do. You do it well. You do it really well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm telling you, listen, if you people are walking around with your, throat chakra closed up, this is what it feels like when it's open.
Give me a couple weeks and I'll work on it. I'll listen to the podcast 4 times on rewind.
Listen, no rush. It's your journey. If you feel like you need a couple weeks or a couple minutes or whatever, the results are yours. It's only going to be your blessings. You know what I mean?
So, what is, if let's say you're, someone listening to this podcast, let's say this is the first one they picked to listen to. They wanted to know how to live an empowered life on a psychic podcast. what is something you would say to someone who didn't know much about energy work or anything like this, and just wanted to feel better about themselves and find some strength within themselves, and they're kind of curious about this stuff? What would you want to say to them to introduce them?
I would say start with the small wins, and the small win is actually a big win. And that is when faced with the truth, no matter what it is, embrace it.
Yeah.
And sometimes when we're embracing truth, that means you might cry. That means you might have to be angry with someone, and someone could be yourself. But the practice of embracing the truth and calling the truth when you know what it is, as opposed to trying to cover it up with something a little bit more pleasant, or completely turn your head away from it because it means that you're going to have to show up either for yourself or someone else, and you don't like the idea of any sort of conflict. That's its own practice. The practice of living and speaking truth is really the beginning of complete empowerment. That's square one.
Gosh, man, you said that so well. That's like so true. It's, and that's kind of a funny thing to say afterwards, but that speaks to me anyway. It really does.
Yeah, it's its own little practice, and it doesn't involve other people. It literally involves you going, I just saw something or experienced something that made me feel a certain way.
Yeah.
It either hurt, it made me mad, it made me feel great. And rather than allowing your ego to rush in to try to prettify it, right? Oh, no, it wasn't that bad. Oh, no, that's not what them. And it's like, no, that's what I felt.
Or, there's a flip side to that too. People who might beautify. I'm a beautifier.
Yes.
I mean, and there's people who might take it and just like it's crappy, there's something bad about it, there's two sides to that.
Here's the thing, and this is what I was about to get into. It's like, no, your body's going to tell you, because anytime we feel something, your body goes sucker punch in the gut. That is when we know somebody just they just sucker punched us with a passive aggressive
or a broken heart.
Aggressiveness is a huge problem.
Oh yeah.
Like backhanded compliments, talking around, like it feels like an insult. I don't care if somebody's smiling at you with it insulting you, your body actually felt that insult.
Yes, I know.
What happens is the mind wants to go, no, that's not what happened. And the body's like, no, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not you want to address that with the other person, that's thought two. Thought one is you have to acknowledge to yourself the truth of, no, they weren't. That wasn't a compliment. They meant to hurt me. And when we do that, right, we're actually acknowledging ourselves. That's empowerment. But the more we call a thing for ourselves, we're now developing a trusting relationship with ourselves. Because the problem is, right, we put way too much of an emphasis on being palatable for other people while we're actually struggling being palatable for ourselves.
Yeah. A lot of people do. And I've heard this a lot, and it's resonating with me. You've probably heard this saying a million times. You can't love someone until you can love yourself. You can only love someone to the extent you can love yourself. That saying, it's that one's been like popping up in feeds and everywhere here and there.
Yeah, and you know what? It's so funny because the whole concept, and I actually did a whole video on this whole the cuteness of the concept of self-love and self-care, and what people like. It's now being thrown about, self-love, it's a hashtag, right? What does that mean in the times where self-love and self-care means dealing with
people,
things that are not quote unquote sweet?
Yeah, like hurting people when you have to because they hurt you and you have to do something,
or they're hurt by the truth.
Yeah, that's really,
if we're being hurt by the truth, something is wrong. And it's not a spiritual thing that's wrong. It's an ego thing that's wrong. Like when we speak the truth and we live our truth, we're literally strengthening our spiritual selves, which is the center of our lives. Without being a spirit, you literally don't exist.
Yeah.
Right? So if your ego's throwing a tantrum, there has to be that wise aspect of you that says, I'm going to give you your tantrum because you need to have your tantrum. We're going to let that go. But here's what's not going to happen. You're not dragging the rest of me along with your tantrum. It's just like being a good parent, right? Sometimes, your kid's tired, your kid needs a nap, your kid is just cranky or whatever, and you just give them that space to express those feelings, right? And what happens after we freak out? Calm.
It's a chemical thing. It's an emotional thing. It's an energetic thing.
Calm,
it's a physical
clarity,
thing. Yeah.
Whatever. But it's our spiritual strength that's going to help us to persevere through life's ups and downs, not moving along to get along. I mean, look at the world right now. Look at what trying to move along to get along has gotten us.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove what I'm saying. I'm saying, look at your life. Look at the world on a global scale. This is what getting in line looks like.
It's a crooked line. There may be some stragglers.
I love that.
There's a crowd. I don't know. There's a pile over there.
She said a crooked line. I love that. I love that. That was great. But yeah. So just start small with just acknowledging truth for yourself and then build on that. Because that really is the foundation of everything.
Yeah, I love that. I think that's very well put. So how can you like it's like usually like if I'm a tarot reader, so I use like tarot and when I think of truth, I often think of swords or I think of mind and I think of logic. But what you said really resonates with me, that you can feel the truth with your body and your energetic body too. Those two kind of mix together to me in that way. So truth is something that it is. I guess I've always kind of been on the fence about if there's such a thing as truth, but I've always thought truth was my truth. And then some people may share my truth.
Right.
But
exactly.
there are some things that are just inherently true,
Right. I agree with that as well. But you know what?
I'm talking about like morals and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I mean, here's the thing, because I think we get morals mixed up again with also placating ego.
Yeah.
But that, I feel like those are discoveries that you find as you practice whatever your spirituality is, right?
That's
Whether
so true.
It's like, you know what? Because there's a whole bunch of books that can tell you these are the laws of the universe, but you don't know until you've discovered it and it's become your knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And our knowledge from experience, right? Once we have gleaned the knowledge from the experience and then we embrace the lessons learned from the experience, that's when it becomes wisdom. Right? You have to earn your wisdom. You can't earn somebody else's wisdom. Like, hi, I read this book by this particular guru. And they said, it's like, yes, they're telling their story to encourage you to actually live your story. I mean, and if they're not doing it that way, you're just watch how their career works over the long haul. Because I think any of us who've been paying attention for a long time,
some people also
ebbs and flows of the guru. And
like some people just regurgitating information makes them feel like they understand it too. If they explain it to someone and they sense their reaction, they might feel like
I'm gonna tell them that every empath knows bullshit.
But there's a difference. An empath will know the difference.
An empath is like, oh, that went clang. That's not true. Truth feels like, that's how truth feels.
It does, yeah.
So anything that's not in that frequency, it's like you're side-eyeing that person going, okay, you know what, namaste. And then you get away from that person as quickly as you possibly can, But sometimes you don't need to like dirty your hands. Like, it's like, okay, I know that's regurgitated from somebody else's truth. That's not your truth. But you know what? How much energy and bandwidth do I have right now? Do I feel like I need to call you out on that? Or do I feel like I just need to make tracks away from you and focus on what I'm doing? And that I think is going to come up a lot for people who are on their spiritual path. Like, when do I need to speak and when do I just need to go, I gotta go?
Yeah, that does. For me, it was always very clear. I don't know. I've never been one to fall into any kind of religious groups. I was raised Catholic, but then afterwards, I didn't really know about psychic. I thought I might be doing that. I might be crazy. Do you hear that? I'm just wondering if you hear that, Monica. Do you hear that hiss? It's been coming and going on your end, and now it's on my end. It'll be in the recording, and your video's been flickering like in a very strange kind of grudge way.
This tends to happen. So
this podcast happens a lot like this.
Well, I think that's because we're both psychic and
oh yeah.
are high, and they are really high right now during this podcast. Yeah, the flickering does happen. So yeah,
I just wanted to let you know it's a regular thing. Like I said, I told you in the email, irregularities, like we have stuff like I just love it when it happens.
I'm all day every day, and the flickering happens when I'm doing my own video recordings. And here's the thing, there's only so much polishing you can do to make something like palatable. Right. We're here to give messages, so focus on the message.
Oh no, I love it. I love it when stuff like that happens.
That wasn't for you. That was for our audience.
Oh, for anyone who's going to criticize, no criticisms. You can't criticize us. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. We can't hear you. You're listening to us, or you're not anymore.
You're hilarious. You were so funny.
I like to have fun.
Yes, you do, and I absolutely enjoy like your vibe because
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm fun too, but I think my fun is a little bit more on the serious side. So I love like joy bringers like yourself. They're a little bit more light,
silly.
It's literally like butterflies flying around my head, going, "Hey!" And I'm like, "Hey, Lisa,
that's me. I'm a yellow butterfly."
Thank you for like taking me out of that serious moment. I was focusing way too hard.
That's what my Gandalf does. He does that to me. And yours is she has a meow behind her, and
he's
our meows.
Magic.
He's Magic and Gandalf are like behind each of us, like our cats. And
this is a good time. All magic abound. But yeah, the thing is that this is what I know for sure. If everybody wants a better world, they have to understand that starts with them making themselves better individuals. And there's no getting around that.
And if you're not happy, that's a real good start to knowing if you feel like you're being a good person or not.
Do you know how many times I've had to say to clients and people that being stuck is actually the breakdown before the breakthrough? Like always. And when you're having those stuck moments, it's literally like everything around you going, so we can't do what we've been doing anymore. We really do have to do something else.
Yeah, that's right. It's like narrowing the road down to a few like cobblestones where you have to hop through lava to get to the other side, and you're somewhere else.
Yes. That's actually a really good visual for me.
Thank you.
I don't know why in my mind I went like Dungeons and Dragons with it.
Totally. It's a couch game. You put the pillows on the floor in the living room and it's all lava and you hop through when you're a kid.
Oh my God.
You ever do that stuff? And people don't do that stuff anymore.
Not since I was a kid, Lisa, but thank you so much.
Somebody will make that video game, I bet.
Somebody's doing it. I haven't
VR.
Like that in a long time, but yes. Yeah, I don't want to hop any more cobblestones. Like can we just stay away from the volcano? That's where I'm at in my life. You know?
I know.
No. I've seen enough. I've done enough. I've had my ass kicked enough. Like I see you, universe. I hear you. Okay, I understand the assignment. And I always tell people, you know what? Act on the whispers. When you hear the whispers, act on the whispers, because anything beyond the whisper is going to hurt. It's going to hurt. So
that's
act
true.
on the whispers for sure.
That's so true. I never thought of putting it that way. I like that a lot. Monica, how can people find you? How can listeners find you if they want to learn more about you?
There's several ways to find me, Lisa. The first I would say is go to my website, conduitofhealing.com. And actually, you can actually follow a lot of my own personal spiritual journey, because I have left 500 free blogs for all of you to read about the whole thing thus far. And there's a lot of information there for free that is sort of like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what happened to me. I'm telling you how I saw it. And if that helps, then great. There's that. I'm also on social media. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. I am on YouTube. So on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, you can find me at conduitofhealing.com. On YouTube, you can go to youtube.com/Sundiva. And that was a name from way back in the day when I was really starting
that. Yeah.
Yeah, professionally. And working with, the Egyptian god Ra, but that's a whole nother story.
Ooh, I
But
gotta hear that
Sundeeva is spelled
one.
Sundeevah, and there's a lot of videos there too that are about weekly messages for the collective, as well as just sort of like my own observations throughout this whole insanity that I call life.
It's called something. It's called a lot of things.
Something, yeah. It's called a lot of things depending on the
that's
moment.
a good word for it right there. So, and you're also on Everclear, aren't you? Are you? Oh, you're on Everclear. Yeah. So, what's your reader name on Everclear?
Oh, it's Monica H on Everclear.
Monica H. So you can meet her on. I'll put her number and info on Everclear on there too. And
thank you so much, Lisa.
Of course, speaking of Everclear, I'd like to thank them. They are our sponsor. Everclear is an advice app, and it's also a website, everclear.com, and you can get your advice from empaths and psychics. And the hope there is that you can get the clarity you need to create the life you deserve.
Lovely people.
It's a great place. I love that place. Yeah, I work there too. It's a great place. It's wonderful.
It is.
Everyone I've met, I've had a bunch of, if you listen, there's a lot of people who from Everclear who've been on the podcast. I've not met anyone that I'm like,
it's a good gathering space, man.
Yes.
I have to say, out of all of my years of kind of being in this business, really supportive, so much love, so much support. I honestly, I highly recommend it. Just the vibes are just always so good.
They really are. And everyone's healing. That's what they're doing. So listeners, that's a great place to go if you need a reading, you need some advice from someone who cares about you. Even if it's 3 minutes, they'll care about you.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But and listeners, as always, thank you so much. And Monica, thank you so much for coming. You're gonna come back. I know it. Maybe more than once. I am gonna come back. Maybe more than once. Maybe I can steal you more times. It's hard to get you in, but I'll find a way. I'm flexible.
You don't have to steal me. I'll come willingly. No worries.
Okay, well, thank you so much again. And thank you, listeners. Have a great evening and peace out. Goodbye.
Bye.